Hey guys, this is Zero. I just created an interview with Shin, the Protoss player from China, who was in the round of 16 of Bombastic Star League Season 14. So I hope you enjoy that content and have fun. Started recording. So, ladies and gentlemen, today we are here with Mr. Shin, who is a BSL Season 14 Pro League player. A very good player from China. Welcome, Mr. Shin, and Mr. Four Blues is with us to do excellent translation, like always.
Awesome，thank you very much。我们现在就是来开始采访你。那么我看一下让 Zero 先来问一些问题吧。So Zero, would you like to start your questions? I suppose.
Yeah, of course. So, Mr. Kit, can you say something more about your history of StarCraft, how you started, when you started playing, when you decided to become a more competitive player, and what were the most important like moments in your career as a StarCraft player?
Thank you。好的，现在 Zero 想问你呢，就是一开始你是怎么从哪里接触到的这个星际？为什么开始打星际？然后呢，之后呢又是有哪些原因开始就是打这个竞技，就是真正开始认真打星际，开始打比赛？就是哪些因素，然后以及你觉得你在你的星际生涯中，最重要的一些经历是哪些呢？
OK，因为我是90年的，然后刚好就是大概2000年左右是星际在国内最火的时候，然后家里也是刚好买了电脑，然后就开始就那会儿就有接触过星际，不过那会儿没有网络嘛，所以就自己有玩过这个游戏，但是就中间没有练习过，就是后面一直到上大学的时候发现。在深圳嘛那时候，然后发现深圳有这个星际的圈子，就重新接触到了，刚好也是一些机缘巧合接触到了，然后就想重新回来，在刚好就那大学的时间比较有时间嘛，就空余的时间比较多，就刚好去练了一段时间，然后稍微的慢慢的有点成绩了，后面就越来越有兴趣有动力去坚持下去了，所以就一直练到现在。大概是这样。然后经历的话，最重要的应该就是2012年的时候，当时国内是办了一个 China OSL，然后是当时也是出了一点点成绩，然后大师把我和战魂然后一起拉过去打了1年的职业嘛，那个是应该是对现在帮助就是走上这条路可能是影响最大的一件事情，大概就是这个大概是这样。
好的，非常感谢。So Shin answered he was born in 1990, and StarCraft became very popular around 2000 in China, and that's also about the time when his family bought a computer, but there was no internet at the time, so he only played against a single player for a little bit. So after he entered into university and started studying in Shenzhen, that's when he actually began to play online and practice in a more serious way, since there's like a StarCraft community in Shenzhen as well, and there's also more free time in university. So as he got better, he also became more motivated. And so the most important experience in Shin's StarCraft career is in 2012 when the China OSL tournament was held for the first time, and that's when he achieved some pretty good records and was invited by Dashi, who together with Janhun to play professionally, semi-professionally for 1 year, and that's when he one of the biggest career-changing moments in his experience. Yeah.
Oh, so that's very impressive. So Mr. Shin was a Chinese programmer, right? So first was PJ and LX Legend, and then I assume there was some kind of programmer scene within Chinese players during 2012, right? So it's the time where most of the people were switching to StarCraft 2, right?
Yeah, I think that's the case around 2012.
Oh, so that's so impressive, and actually that's the moment when I stopped playing StarCraft. So that's really impressive that the Chinese scene was still developing back then. So, like, does Mr. Shin thinks that this 1 year experience of practicing gave him so much that that's why now he's one of the best Chinese players?
这个吉尔说，非常佩服，非常厉害，因为你也是打过职业选手嘛。这个 Zero 的这个理解是，中国第一个职业选手是 PJ， 然后是罗贤和 J Star， 是不是这些这些选手？应该还有一些其他的选手，可能 Super 之类的，我 Zero 不是特别了解那么 Zero 在想是2012年是不是这个就是很多人都开始去打星际2了？
其实对，像在那个时间，其实国内的星际已经是非常下坡路了，就是玩的人已经非常少了，所以说，可能比赛也非常少，然后他们很多选手都是转型了德州扑克，所以然后像以前那些老一辈的选手，像罗贤、PJ、Super， 他们都是转型德州扑克了，然后剩下的就是我们。90后可能稍微有几个吧，选手还好坚持，还在打这个比赛，但是也没想到能够一路走过来，现在比赛也是越来越多的，也是越来越好了，就是觉得现在这样也挺好的，我们还能够跟欧美选手一块儿打比赛，这个在以前是完全不敢想象的。大概是
这样。这个。那这个接着还想问你，这个你觉得这个2012年的时候打这个一年的职业比赛，你觉得对你这个现在的星际成长，这个成为中国这个顶级的这个星际选手的这个成长过程有没有多大的影响呢？
其实在国内的这个职业的这个。练习里面，就职业的体系里面，其实是没有不像韩国，就是有团队的，有教练，有各种分析师，然后有大量的选手可以互相练习。其实我们当时打职业的时候，就是只是提供了一个练习环境，然后可能给了一份工资，也不多，就刚好够自己生活那种，然后就提供一个练习环境，自己主要还是靠自己练习。所以说，虽然没有韩国那种职业的那种电竞的那种体系，但是。对于我们自己一个练习，就是可能一天会有个40多盘的一个练习，练习量很大，然后就通过那一年的练习，现在可能就基本功上会，比没有专业练过的可能会稍微的好一些。就是这段时间，对自己来说的话，还是帮助非常大的。就大概这样。
好的，谢谢。Yeah, so Shin said that in 2012, it was indeed the case that many people were switching to StarCraft 2, and StarCraft Brood War was going downhill at the time. So there were fewer tournaments, and many of the former top players, pro gamers like PJ, Alex, and Super, they went to play Texas Poker. Yeah, they went to play poker. So is only a few players born after 1990 still held on to the game, and including Shin. So right now there's a lot more games now, and also the opportunity to play with international players from Europe and the Americas, etc. And so Shin, he finds it to be very unbelievable. It's a really, really great thing and completely unimaginable back then. And so regarding the professional experience, so in reality, professional gaming in China, in StarCraft, in China is basically, just spending more time playing the game, because you get a little bit of income, a little bit of income. It's not sponsored by the state or anything. It's more like a hobby thing. So unlike in Korea, you don't get like professional coaches. You don't have professional full-time practicing partners. You've got no professional environment background, and so for them they just play as much as possible. So it's just like quitting your job and just spending more time playing the game. He practiced for about 40 games a day. So it was a very intense experience and very helpful in building up, fundamental mechanics of the game and, muscle memory, that kind of thing. So yeah, it was quite helpful in a sense that it was a good opportunity to spend a lot more time playing the game. Actually.
Yeah, that's very smart that he was able to use this time to become better. So that was always a dream of mine, to become a pro gamer. So congratulations to Mr. Shin. And I wanted to ask him about BSL. Why did he decided to participate? Because I know that he was over 2,400 MMR when he qualified, and then he was in a pretty hard group in round of 24, but he was able to advance from it. And what are his experience and why he decided to participate in BSL, and did he like it?
好的，这个就是说的这个他也一直梦想成为这个职业选手，所以非常佩服你，非常非常也恭喜你这个能够完成这样的一个成为职业选手的一个理想。那么接着想问你的就是，你当初是为什么决定来参加 BSL 呢？因为说，看你也是达到了2400多分，而且这个此前的这几轮也都是在被分到挺强的这个小组里面。那么就是你为什么参加这个 BSL？ 你对这次参加 BSL 到目前为止你的这个感受是怎么样？你觉得喜欢吗
？OK， 因为其实因为第一届的时候我是没有赶上嘛，当时可能是没有接触到这个你们这个就是圈子，或者说是没有人告诉我有这个比赛。第一届其实没有赶上，就是可能上一届的时候，然后所以说这一届有机会参加的话，我是挺想参加的，因为从来都没有跟这个，因为天天在韩服练习，是韩国选手其实都能接触到很多，哪怕就是最顶尖那些平常选手也经常能够排得到，但是欧美的选手的话是确实从来没有打过，就挺想接触一下不同的选手，打一些不同的比赛，看一下。多了解一下大家对于星际的一个理解可能都不太一样，所以说也是挺开心的能参加这个 BSL 的比赛。然后这次其实对像他说的，像这次和那个Suzuki和那个 Dewalt 一组是确实自己是感觉到可能出线会比较难，因为确实他们都是2600、2700的选手都比较厉害，所以说自己还是需要努力吧，看一下。下一届是不是能打得更好一些？然后，确实最近前面一整年是基本上是在早睡早起啊，所以说这届比赛这个生物钟可能我自己也没调过来，晚上的这个状态可能也不是特别好，所以希望下一届的话，我看看自己能不能调整一下，争取把比赛打得更好一些啊，大概是这样。
好的，谢谢。Okay, so Shin, he said he wasn't able to participate last time in BSL 13 because back then he didn't know that BSL existed. So after he heard of BSL, he was really interested to play in BSL 14. So for Shin, he gets to play Korean players quite often on Korean ladder because China and Korea is really close, and that includes top pro gamers, etc. But he never really got the opportunity to play against Western players, European American players before. So he was really interested and really curious, and really interested to find out what you know, what are the like strategic, cultural, and kind of differences between players in China and the Western world. And so regarding the BSL experience, so you know, there's DeWalt, Zeki, and Bonner players that are consistently above 2600 and consistently 2700 players. So he said he was really expecting himself to, you know, make it too far into the game, into the tournament, but and also at the same time, so he's been waking up really early during these games. So I suppose, like, some players are more comfortable staying up until 4 a.m. So Shin chose to wake up at 4 a.m. to play. So that's, you know, also quite had an effect on his performance, more or less. So he would be, you know, he'd definitely be keen to participate in BSL again and try his best to, you know, achieve better outcomes next time.
Oh, I'm happy to hear, and I need to add that this lag issue, that multiple time zones, and the thing, it's like, I can't imagine how I can make it better, because it's still North and South America, Europe and China, and Asia. It's totally different time zones, so it's very hard to make it comfortable for everyone. But yeah, we will try to do it. So sorry for all the inconveniences involved with that. And I wanted to ask Mr. Shin, what are the differences he sees in the meta, Europe compared to China? What are the differences that West players are doing compared to the Chinese and Korean players, where he was playing the latter, most of them?
Zero 非常开心，也非常欢迎你下一次再来参加这个 BSL， 因为这个时间、这个时差还有这个延迟之类，这个是很难很难解决的一个问题，所以但是他也会下次也会尽力去安排这个，比如说可以提前打啊、提前录制这些了，尽量安排适应这个选手的时差。那么这个就是想问你，就通过这一次跟欧美选手这个交流，你觉得就是这个从主流的这个风格还有战术打法来看的话，你觉得这个欧美选手和这个中韩选手之间最大的差别在哪呢？
最大差别，其实我感觉就现在由于这个应该是除了国服之外，就是其他的服务器应该都是连在一起的，就大家可能都天梯上互相排得到，我感觉。而且现在就韩国选手确实跟其他选手的这个就其他选手跟韩国选手这个差距可能确实还是比较明显的存在的，所以说大家可能都会越来越多的去学习这个韩国的打法，所以我感觉这次看下来其实感觉不是太明显，因为大家可能都越来越都是在学习韩国的一个打法，所以就还是感觉其实没有特别明显的一个差别了，就我暂时感觉呢没有特别明显的差别。就大概这样。
好的，谢谢。So outside of Chinese BattleNet, so most players, everyone I think outside of Chinese BattleNet can connect with each other. So, so she believed that, you know, the Korean players are sort of like a bridge, you know, between the Chinese players and also the Western players in terms of meta. So, like, because there is indeed a really huge difference, gap in terms of skill between Korean players and non-Korean players. So it's quite reasonable for non-Korean players to mimic the current Korean meta. So, he said he didn't find that much of a very obvious difference in the meta between Western and Eastern Chinese players this time.
Okay, that's interesting. And okay, what are the plans for future for Mr. Shin? Is he planning to improve even more, become does he involve his future with StarCraft, or does he have some other plans? What are his plans for his future esports career?
好的，那么接着想问你，你对自己未来的这个星际生涯有哪些打算呢？是要继续加油，继续打星际，继续练习下去，继续提高自己的这个星际的水平和业绩，还是说你有没有就是打算去比如说做别的工作，或者去打别的游戏啊之类的？你是对自己的未来这个职业生涯是怎么打算的呢？
这个怎么说呢？像其实我估计不管对国内的选手，还是对欧美，还是对韩国选手的，应该都一样，就是虽然就是怎么说呢？就是那如果去打其他游戏的话，可能就是我们这一代的这个年纪已经是非常非常大了，可能就玩不了了。像中间我们也去尝试过打这个，像这个撸啊撸啊，这个Legends of League 就是玩这些撸啊撸，然后但是是很难打得出成绩的，因为没办法，这都是年轻人的游戏。然后可能也就是星际这个，像我们这一代可能还勉强能打一打，就是这个游戏又比较难嘛，又上手又比较难，所以可能加入的新人又比较少。但是就是现状就这样了。其他游戏的话可能是没办法再去转型了，所以就。而且星际的话，确实坚持了这么多年，应该也是没有其他游戏能够取代的，在我们心中应该都是这样。然后，应该暂时还是会先坚持打下去吧。如果有一天实在是没有比赛了，再考虑后面的事情吧。应该是暂时先这样。对。
好的，非常感谢。Yeah, so said that it's for most of them, probably for everyone, whether it's in Europe, North America, or China or Korea, it's kind of too late to start playing other games at this age, because most players are probably in their 30s or close to the 30s already. So he did try to play League of Legends before, but it's pretty hard to keep up because most players are much younger in other traditional esports games. And also perhaps like more or less StarCraft is probably the only game that's left for them, left for us more or less. And also it's very hard to learn, so there's very few new players. And at the same time, StarCraft is like a dedication for most of us. Like there's nothing that can replace it. So Shin said he wants to stick to StarCraft for as long as possible, perhaps until one day that there's no more tournaments in StarCraft. That's when he will consider switching to another game.
Yeah, it makes sense. And how does he see the foreigner scene right now? Like, for him, it was better when the remaster came out, or it's better now? Does he think that StarCraft remaster scene is constantly developing? 是觉得你说的很有道理。那么他想问，你觉得现在的这个非韩星际圈怎么样？这个相比之下，你觉得这个星际重置版这个刚出来的时候，这个星际圈比较这个繁荣好呢，还是说觉得现在就更加繁荣、更好一些？而且你觉得这个就是星际重置版出来这个发布时，对你就对这个星际圈、星际界有多大的这个帮助呢
？OK， 就是明显就是现在其实是我们在重置版出来之后，明显还是在走一个上坡路的，就是比赛确实是越来越多了，就不管是在这个我们国内还是在这个欧美，相信比赛应该都是越来越多的。这个重置版出来之后，我觉得不光是这个画面让人看着更舒服了，就是主要是加了一个天梯这个功能，让大家可以有一个地方去练习、去提高。我觉得这个其实挺关键的。就你有这个平台的话，大家可以去练习、去提高，然后比赛才会越来越精彩，相信看的人才会越来越多。但是没办法，这个游戏就是确实是上手太难了，对新手太不友好了吧，所以 相信也没有办法再像这个20年前一样那么火了。而且现在这些新的游戏都是特别容易上手，而且游戏体验会相当不错的一些游戏，所以说觉得我们现在，可能暂时也没办法顾虑太多，就是现在做好自己能做的吧，就还打得动的时候，就尽量去练习，去把这个练得更好，然后，看看以后有没有机会能跟韩国人打打比赛之类的，我觉得。只能先考虑这么多了。
好的，好的，非常感谢。So Sheen answered that. So StarCraft Remastered did lead to the pretty positive development for the StarCraft scene, and there were more tournaments, and especially because that Remastered added a decent ladder system for people to practice, and that gives people more motivation, more opportunities to practice, and so then we get more, not necessarily more new players, but we do get constant improvements in the overall skill level of players, and at the same time more audience. But the problem is that StarCraft is just way too hard. It's not a newbie friendly game, so Sheen doesn't expect it to become as popular as 20 years ago. But especially given that newer games are much easier to learn, they're also much more entertaining, as in most people you can immediately get a grasp of it. But StarCraft is really difficult to grasp, even if you just stay as an audience, even if you just watch it. So Sheen says he just wants to cherish what we have right now and play as much as possible before we get too old, and so that perhaps one day the foreign scene, we could challenge the Koreans.
Oh, that would be great. If we could someday have a team which can compete against Korean, that might be a chance to make a bigger StarCraft community all around the world. Okay, so we said that it would be between 15 to 30 minutes, so I don't want to keep Mr. Sheen and Mr. Forblues for too long. So I have a last question. Who will win VSL 14 according to Sheen?
Sorry, who
will win VSL 14 according to Sheen? Who does he think will win?
Okay, thank you. 好的，这个 Zero 觉得非常激动。如果有一天我们可以组成一个非韩战队去挑战韩国人的话，那应该对星际圈是有一个很大的一个冲击，带来很多的新能量，还有新的玩家观众等。那么我们现在时间差不多快到了，大概是本来说的是15到20分钟嘛，所以那么最后一个问题就是你觉得BSL 14谁会赢，谁会夺冠？
这个，因为确实我觉得可能迷糊还是会强一点，因为不管是他在国内的一个成绩，还是他的这个天梯分数来说的话，可能迷糊确实这方面还是有可能机会是最大的。但是比赛这个东西，它的魅力就在于，并不是最强的人就一定能稳赢，所以说，还是得看最后的大家的一个发挥吧。希望大家都加油，打出一些精彩的比赛就最好了。大概这样。
好的，谢谢。Yeah, so Sheen believes he's still more or less putting his bet on Mihu, because Mihu has been extremely impressive in Chinese tournaments and also has some of the highest MMR scores ever achieved by non-Koreans. So I think it was 2800 on Korean ladder, ranked third. That was he did stay there for a few days and then drop back down. I think that's what I heard. But the beauty of of tournaments is that it's never predictable. You could have a very high MMR, but lose a game or two, or lose against completely unexpected opponents, etc. So that's the beauty of the tournaments. So Sheen hopes that regardless of the outcomes, that we will see very good games, and that's that would be the best thing that could happen for the StarCraft scene.
Oh, that's very wise words. Huge thanks to Mr. Shin and for Mr. Forblues for the interview. I wanted to invite Mr. Shin and all the Chinese players to participate in BSL, and maybe Mr. Shin has a channel which he could share with me, so I would add it to the description of the video, and maybe he has some words to the foreigner fans which are cheering for him and supporting him.
那这个 Zero 说，非常感谢你这个能够来参加这次采访，然后也非常同意你的这个智慧的这个解析。那么Zero 想说，这个也是希望你下次你和其他的这个中国选手们下次都可以再积极参加这个 BSL， 也非常欢迎大家这个国际友人一起这个相互切磋。那么这个最后想问一下，你有没有这个你的直播间呐，或者这个之类直播间或者这个视频 VOD 的这个链接，以及如果有这个粉丝想这个支持你的话，你有没有比如说这个我也不知道国内有没有就是给你打赏啊或者赞助啊之类的这种链接有没有呢？如果想支持你的话，观众想支持你
OK， 我是在这个抖音平台直播，现在就是有链接可以发在群里面，等一下晚一点。好的 OK 就这个
那这个最后你有没有哪些想对这个 BSL 观众啊和其他选手都说的话吗
？BSL fighting
好的谢谢。So he has Douyin. I don't really know what it's called. Wait, I think it's TikTok. Yeah, I think it's TikTok. Douyin is TikTok. Yeah. So he will share the link later, and he wants to say BSL fighting for everyone in the audience.
Yeah, huge thanks.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shin, and thank you very much, Mr. Forblues, for the translation.
非常感谢 and thank you very much, Zero. Awesome. I suppose.
So, as a professional YouTuber, I need to learn how to say those words. Don't forget to like the channel, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Name Zero Gosu or Zero Super Gosu. Thanks for watching.